Hello everybody, and a super warm welcome from the streets of Tel Aviv. It's 40 degrees here, so it's absolutely on the scorchy side of the weather, but this is actually a perfect opportunity, at least for me and hopefully for you, to discuss a risk assessment framework for the CISO and the cybersecurity professional, and in specifics, what to do in a scenario in which your professional risk assessment exercise doesn't really align with different departments. So, for example, your risk assessment exercise doesn't completely align with the marketing's department risk assessment or the operations risk assessment. And a very common example that I professionally encountered several times is a data breach. So a data breach will have a high priority, high score, high probability, high damage score within your risk assessment in most organizations. But simultaneously, your marketing department will say, no, we don't really consider a data breach to be a high risk problem. We consider to having our website down for a couple of days and not being able to sell. This is the highest priority. And simultaneously, your operations department will say, no, the supply chain, okay, if something will happen technologically speaking with your supply chain, then this is your highest risk score and highest damage and so on. And this is actually a very hard scenario, especially for new CISOs in organizations, because first of all, it puts you in a position in which you really need to do back and forth with the different departments, and more complicated for your board, for your C-suites, for your decision makers. They cannot really decide regarding which priority is the correct priority, and you really need to think about it from the perspective of the board. So for the board, okay, when you show them high risk score, high probability, high potential of damage, and you show them this type of metrics, and the marketing department shows them this type of metrics, and then the operations department shows them the same metrics, and of course with different subject in minds, it makes the situation literally impossible to make a quick, educated decision. And this is why we need to quantify risk scores and risk assessment into financial impact. So a data breach shouldn't just have a high score, high probability, high damage, the red stoplight thing. No. It should have a number. It should have the financial quantification of the potential damage. So, for example, a data breach should have a potential damage number of $75 million for that specific company. Now, when the board will see a specific financial number which is connected with the risk assessment, then first of all they will request exactly the same thing from the marketing department, from the operation department, and so on, and then we can compare the numbers. Okay, we can compare absolute numbers, not just risk scores. And from my professional experience, a data breach for some specific companies has a much bigger number than for example, a supply chain issue, because a data breach will cause significant branding issue, customer acquisition issue, customer retention issues, and so on. So we need to quantify. We need to quantify with numbers. Okay, our board, they cannot make difficult decisions without real financial quantifications. And we professionally, okay, we shouldn't show them risk scores. It doesn't help. It just makes your life more complicated. Goodbye.